Bismillah, Alhamdulillah, Assalatu Wassalamu ala Rasulillah. Now in this video we will be looking at the third type of control structure loops, that is while loop. We have already seen the for loop and the do while loop. Now we will see the while loop. So we will take a sample program to check the while loop. So as we have already seen in the previous for loop and do while loop, we will be displaying a multiplication table wherein a format of the multiplication will be written inside the loop, and only the variables which are changing, those will be incremented or decremented, and then that will be repeated inside the loop. So first insert mode, and then we'll include a directory file stdio.h, and then we'll write the main program where the execution begins. So this is the main program, and we have to store the values of the variables. So we'll declare two variables, variable and I. So we need to take the input from the user. So before that we are just telling the user to enter a value for multiplication table, and then we are reading the input using a scanf function. As it is an integer value, we are using the %d format specifier, and then and %variable to store the value. Then after this we have to display the multiplication table. So as we have seen in the for loop, there were three sections: the increment section, the condition section, and the initialization section, the condition section, and the increment section. And in the do while loop there wasn't any increment section or initialization section. Similarly in while loop also we don't have any increment section or initialization section. So all the increments should be done before the loop begins. So here we need to do the initialization. So we are initializing the variable, and this brackets is used only for the condition. So here the condition should be specified, that is I less than or equals to 10. So this is the condition, and then inside the while loop we need to write the statements which we have to repeat in the loop. So we are writing the printf function, printf %d to display the first variable value, then %d again for the second variable value, equals to %d for result, and then the first variable value is variable, second one is I, and the third one is the multiplication of both of those. Now as we can see, there is no increment section as well in while loop. So before exiting the while loop, we need to increment the value of I as well by 1. So this is the syntax for writing a while loop. As we can see, in the do while loop there was a semicolon after the while, but in the while loop there is no semicolon after while. And as do loop, here we don't have any initialization and increment section, so we need to do that separately. So initialization will be done before the while loop, because if we write the initialization inside the while loop, then it will be initialized whenever the loop gets executed, and the loop may enter into an infinite loop. And also here, as we can see, in the do while loop, the statements inside the do while loop were executed at least once, but in the while loop, as it is similar to for loop, so here if the condition is satisfied, only then it will come for the execution of these statements. So here we write the \n. I forgot it previously as well. Now we'll execute this, :wq to save, cc space while dot c. So there is a error, I guess. I have mistyped the variable here, while dot c. Sorry, I have made a mistake here, spelling mistake, variable. So now let us execute this. So the error is gone. ./a.out, enter a value for multiplication table 2. So now as you can see, the multiplication table is displayed. There is not much difference in the three loops. Basically it depends on the application that you want to build. All the three loops perform the same functionality. They have the same power for repeating the number of statements inside the loop, except for the difference that for loop and while loop will execute the statements only when the condition is true, and in the do while loop the condition will be, the statements inside the do while loop will be executed at least once, and then the condition will be checked for further iterations in the loop. So that is the control structure loops. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.